Hello everybody, I'm LeontiosHadjileontiadis and I'm here to present you CovidSense, a smartphone-based initiative for fighting COVID-19 spreading. This work is supported by Khalifa University of Science and Technology Abu Dhabi in UAE and also Aristotle University of Thessaloniki in Thessaloniki, Greece. What we try to do is to use the data and also evidence-based AI models in order to identify the COVID-19, and based on that we can avoid COVID-19 spreading and also reduce misinformation and panic, and support optimization of economic impact and health outcomes. So our solution includes the collection of metadata and self-reporting health status data that relate with the early COVID-19 symptoms, and also physiological signal recordings such as breathing sounds, cough sounds, and heart rate, along with the GPS location. So as you can see here, there is one pillar that is about the input data, and the other pillar that is the backend, where we have the analysis of the data using advanced machine deep learning algorithms in order to have a COVID-19 risk index. This can inform the stakeholders in the area in order to optimize the policies. So actually, you can see here that the interface between all these pillars is the smartphone. So what is the idea behind? Is the concept that we have the reflection of the effect of the inflammation of the respiratory system to the by acoustic signals that we record on the surface. So this is reflecting the breathing and the coughing, and we can see here the change of the status of the lungs at the same time the change in the sound. So as you can see here, there is mixed information of the acoustic perspective, but also reflects the severity of the lungs. At the same time, we try to see how we can go to the monitoring of the immune system, and this is related with the autonomic nervous system, ANS modulation. So there is a modulation of the immune system by ANS. So this is reflecting the change of the heart rate variability. So actually, what is heart rate variability?
Heart rate variability examines the tiny, imperceptible changes and patterns between heartbeats. Our advanced algorithms analyze these precise times between heartbeats and detects activity from the nervous system.
So based on this, we can have the use of a smartphone actually as a source for massive data collection, because everything, as we said, can be used via the smartphone. That's why we had the application of the CovidSense, where you can see here there are two versions in iOS and Google Play. And based on that, we can have self-reported symptoms by acoustics, heart rate, and GPS. The user creates a profile, and based on that, he starts providing data. So for example, here we can see that we have the different possibilities of menu. Here is the daily symptom 2 times per day about the status of the temperature, of the coughing, if there is any pain, if there is any other symptom. And also we go to the donation of the data of the breathing, where there is a guide, a visual guide for the user in order to see where is the inhalation, exhalation. And you can also see that the user sees the signal below recorded. And also there is the recording of the cough sounds. So where I have the voluntary coughing and involuntary coughing in case there's a symptom of coughing. So even with the voluntary coughing, we can see the changes of the source system, which is the respiratory system. Regarding the heart rate variability, the beats per minute, we measure this through the camera of the mobile. So the user puts the finger behind, and then we see that there is a light that goes through the finger, and based on that, we can infer the changes that comes through the hemoglobin change based on the heartbeat. And as you can see here, there is a periodicity where we can analyze and identify through the signals what is the beats per minute in this duration of 1 minute analysis. So based on that, we can identify the beats per minute, but also we connect this with the mood. At the same time, we connect this with the activity. And also the user can see different statistics related to his country about the COVID and also his personal data. So as you can see here is a specific application that targets the donation of data. We are working on that in the new updates in order to have the high risk index. So what we have from the user actually is the use of the latest analysis of the deep learning. Also, we create new measures and new features that go to the high order statistics spectrum combined with the MFCC coefficients. And also we try to do personalized training in order to fuse the data between the self-reporting and metadata and also with the physiological signals. But also another perspective, we can give feedback for the self-managing actually, and also we can have the spatial distribution of high-risk spaces. You can see here we have the distribution where people can avoid, and also call for action guidelines. So for emergency call and nearest test center and first response action for someone where we have a high risk. At the same time, if we go to the policy maker side, we can say that we can provide statistics at different layers, and also for the high-risk subject, the quarantine subject, and also the current recovery patients, which is the spatial distribution, where are the sensitive groups, and also the suggestion for primary intervention in order to have the optimization regarding the health impact in the country. Ethics and actually privacy and security by design are the highest priority in this. And as you can see here, we have all this concept of approved IRB from the National IRB Committee of UAE. And also we try to infer the concept of fair and transparent and ethical AI inside the AI models we're using. And when positioning the approach in the relevant, let's say, competitors, we can see that there are some in parallel projects like Apple COVID-19 screening tool, where it's supported by CDC, FEMA, and White House in US, and also COVID-19 Sounds Up, where it's supported by European Research Council for Cambridge University. And as you can see there, we can have a lot of characteristics that are in CovidSense. Actually, we monitor both the self-reported system, but also the respiratory system, and also the immune system, and also the behavioral system and spatial modeling. So these are not covered in all cases by the other two approaches. And the impact we can see here is the empowerment of the people in order to self-manage their health status. We are inclusive and explainable AI. We can have also this multi-scale approach that actually goes to the concept of micro, meso, or macro level by the user, community, and central authorities. And this is flexible in the design of a global perspective, so we can have increased scalability across different cities and different countries. And also we can have research outcome and data repositories, because this creates a lot of new data for a follow-up research for the long-term effect of COVID-19 to the recovered patients, and also connection with comorbidities like COPD, asthma, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, CVD, and obesity. If we can see it as a roadmap, we can see now we just launched the iOS version. We also try to form the models regarding the pre-existing databases. We got one from HM Hospitales from Spain. We combine this with the data that we get from the CovidSense app, and then we try to expand this outside UAE, for example, in Europe and US. And this can be marketized then as different types of solution like B2C, B2B, B2G. What we ask actually from you is if you want to serve as a CovidSense ambassador in your country, so meaning that you can join the effort in different roles you can see there, and at the same time you can contribute in the ethics approval in the National IRB Committee. Also, we can foster the dissemination of the social media, be a part of the advisory board, and at the same time collaborate in the data acquisition. And we can provide actually access to different historical data, or also take and use this data in order to increase the accuracy of our model. So we can have this retrospective analysis and transfer learning in the COVID-19 patients, but the data, they stay in the position. So we're using this cross-silo federated learning for that. And what we offer actually is this enhanced research opportunity in order to have this access to our databases, to our models, the community, to shape them health policy, to have joint publication and co-creation experience. So in that case, we call you to be a part of the research of the solution, to join the CovidSense community, because the real data donation can create a real difference in the pandemic problem. Thank you very much for your attention, and welcome all questions.